APC threatens to sanction Ali Ndume. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The world news begins with 2 truck drivers being killed during an attack by unknown gunmen in Ogi Junction in Okigwe local government area of Imo State. Officials of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Imo State chapter, who confirmed the attack, said it happened over the weekend. NURTW's chairman in Okigwe, Dahiru Musa, said the gunmen burnt the truck which was fully loaded with gari. According to the chairman, shortly after the incident, he reported it to the security forces, which include soldiers and policemen. Speaking further on the development, the spokesperson of NURTW Heavy Truck Laranto Motor Park, Jos Mahmoud Jafaru, said the truck was heading for Port Harcourt when the perpetrators launched the attack. He gave the names of the drivers as Haruna Mohammed and Adamu Ibrahim. The drivers loaded Gary from Ayangade to Port Harcourt when the gunmen killed them in broad daylight. This is one too many. Drivers from the north have become valued less than human beings. They are killed at will. As long as you're a driver from the north, you don't have rest of mind until you get to Port Harcourt, and the government and security forces seem to do nothing about it. End quote. Jafaru, however, called on the government to take necessary action to address the problem, as they have lost countless drivers and trucks worth millions of naira, which has been destroyed. The State Police Command is yet to comment on the development. In the same vein, residents of flood-prone communities in several states are resisting evacuation and are instead asking the authorities to come to their aid. Following the recent flood that killed over 200 persons and left about 500 others missing at communities in Mokwa local government area of Niger State, the federal government last week raised the alarm that 30 states and the Federal Capital Territory are currently at the risk of a similar disaster. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utsev, listed the high flood risk states as Abia, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Ebonyi, Edo, Gombe, Imo, Jigar, Kebbi, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, and Zamfara states. The minister, who blamed the Mocha flood on heavy rainfall heightened by the effects of climate change, said the high casualty figure was caused by lack of adherence by people in the state to flood warnings. The perennial flooding in the country has raised questions over the utilization of the billions of ecological fund disbursed to the states and the FCT from the Federation Account Allocation Committee to address ecological crisis, including flooding. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, that's the NBS, the sum of 39.62 billion naira was disbursed to the 36 states, including the SCT, from June 2023 to June 2024. The Ecological Fund, which was established in 1981, is drawn from the Federation account at a rate of 2%, with the primary objective of assisting all the tiers of government to tackle ecological problems such as flooding, desertification, erosion, oil spills, and drought. The disbursement process is managed by the Ecological Fund Office and the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Vice President Kashim Shettima also last year disclosed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved 3 billion naira for each state to address natural disasters, including flooding. In an unfortunate development, a retired major in the Nigerian Army, Joe Ajayi, who was kidnapped at his residence in Oduakwe, Kamba, Bunu local government area of Kogi State a few weeks ago, has died in the kidnapper's den despite a ransom of 10 million naira paid for his rescue. Major Ajayi was kidnapped on Wednesday, May 21, 2025 from his residence around 11:30 p.m. by gunmen who shot sporadically. Sources disclosed that the initial demands of 50 million naira ransom by the abductors lingered when the family could not pay. This resulted in his health deteriorating as he had no means to get his medication. VOP News also gathered that the kidnappers informed the family that their plea for his medication to be forwarded to him would come at an extra cost, a concession that couldn't be met by the family. However, as soon as the abductors discovered that Ajayi couldn't survive, they reduced the ransom to 10 million naira. A source in the community said that the Ajayi family, believing he was still alive, quickly agreed to pay the amount for his rescue. The state governor, Ahmed Ododo, while speaking at the Eid ground last Salah in Okene, appealed to residents to remain calm as efforts to rid the criminal elements out of the state were already yielding positive results. Kidnapping has surged in the state for a while now, with the abduction of a first-class monarch, Oba James Dada Ogunyonda, the Oba Okoloke in Yagba West local government area, who was in the same way abducted from his home in early May. He is yet to be released as well. Meanwhile, unfortunately, Jesu Tega Onokpasa, lawyer and political commentator, is dead. Onokpasa, who was a member of the APC's Presidential Campaign Council in 2023, died under yet-to-be-disclosed circumstances. While Gerald Nwarosier, a long-time associate of Onokpasa, confirmed the development to the correspondents today. Well, the Advocates for Good Governance and Humanity, a group to which Onokpasa belonged, described his passing as a profound loss to Nigeria's political, legal landscape. In a tribute signed by Zainab Ibrahim, Director General of the group, the organization described Onokpasa as a passionate advocate whose contribution shaped national discourse and inspired many to take part in Nigeria's democratic process. For a couple of us who may not recall who Onokpasa is, let's take a very brief listen to him in a Monitor television interview with Rufai Oseni that went viral at the time while he was supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration.
How are you two? How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm
good. Patriotism means supporting your country at all times, but also supporting the government when they deserve it. Mr. Onokpasa, I put it to you that you came here to misrepresent the facts today as regards subsidy removal. President Tinubu announced subsidy gone on Inauguration Day. And that was effectively pulling out subsidy. So you say he didn't remove subsidy, quoting the PIA law that had been there for a while, is misrepresentation of the facts. That's number one. Number two, since President Tinubu got in... Let me finish, Mr. Onokpasa. Let me finish, please. Secondly, since he got in...
Don't raise your voice at me, young man. Don't raise your voice at me.
Let me finish, Mr. Onokpasa. Let me finish.
I'm your guest.
So since President Tinubu got in,
respect me.
Since President Tinubu got in,
I will
the economy.
Walk out of your studio if you raise your voice at me.
Mr. Onokpasa,
me respectfully.
You may will take your decision if you want to. I'm asking a question. You might decide to walk out if you want to. Mr. Onokpasa, since President Tinubu came in, the economy has tanked. Is at an all-time low as we speak.
It has not.
Let me finish my question. Mr. Onokpasa, let me finish my question.
You are a liar.
Mr. Onokpasa, moderate yourself, all right? Moderate yourself.
Do you know what you are doing?
Good.
Listen to me.
Secondly,
do you know what you are doing?
Since President Tinubu came in, the economy has tanked.
You are pretending to be a journalist.
The indicators are there.
What is the matter with you?
Since he came in, the indicators are there. Number one, the cost of the dollar to the naira.
What is the matter with you?
The cost of the dollar to the naira has tanked tremendously as a result of the fluctuation of the currency. All right, that's one.
Is that Tinubu's fault? Don't you know why naira tanked?
I'm still asking my question. Secondly, it's been an
of your friends.
Because it's been an all-time malaise in the economy as we speak. Cost of living gone up.
Oh, well, that was Jesu Tega Onokpasa in that interview that actually went viral. Nigerians have been reacting to the development. As you can recall, after a while, another interview was conducted where Jesu Tega Onokpasa was not happy with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and said he doesn't think he's going to support him any further, blaming the president for not selecting those who actually stood tall under the sun and the rain in supporting him, denying them the ability to enjoy in the largesse of his government. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has renamed the Abuja International Conference Center as the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center. The minister also disclosed that other halls in the facility had been renamed after the Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, and Chief Justice of Nigeria Kekere Ekun. Wike stated this during the inauguration of the ICC in Abuja today. Wike also ascribed the completion of the rehabilitated conference center to the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Wike said that within 8 months, Mr. President, this is what we have, and I agree that without your leadership, it wouldn't have been possible. The minister also stated that many ministries or government agencies willing to use a conference center will be made to pay going forward to ensure the proper maintenance of the ICC, while President Bola Ahmed Tinubu thereby encouraged Nyesom Wike to continue to work and forget the noisemakers, also saying that Nigerians must obey what Wike says. Let's take a listen to the president.
Attention to the busybody and the bystanders. Whatever they say, continue with your good work. You are a transformational leader. You have the foresight, the vision, and determination to succeed. Thank you very, very much. When I attended the conference of ECOWAS Parliament here, it was a very dirty, disorganized, inhabitable environment. Aside from the side talk with the Senate President, I turned to Wike. I said, but this conference center is not reflecting who we are. Have we sunk this low? He said no, but bear with us. We will do whatever we can do to transform the place. We won't come back.
All right, that was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu there encouraging Nyesom Wike to continue his work, saying that he sees the good work that he is doing. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has cautioned former Senate Chief Whip Ali Ndume over his recent comments, warning that ex-President Goodluck Jonathan's treatment awaits President Bola Tinubu in 2027. The party, while it allows differing opinions, it also has established procedures for disciplining members who engage in misconduct. The APC's Director of Publicity, Bala Ibrahim, stated in an exclusive interview with correspondents on Monday that the ruling party is open-minded and welcomes a variety of viewpoints without conflict. You recall that on Sunday, Ndume expressed fears that an upset awaited the president at the next poll if he fails to learn from the shocking defeat of Jonathan in 2015. Ndume gave the warning when he was featured as a guest on a particular monitor television program on Sunday. In the 2015 presidential election, Jonathan contested under the People's Democratic Party but was defeated by the APC candidate Muhammadu Buhari. The former military ruler secured 15,424,921 votes, while the then president received 12,853,162 votes, placing second. The election was historic as it marked the first time a sitting president lost re-election bid in Nigeria. The lawmaker feared history could repeat itself if Tinubu failed to address what he described as crippling economic hardship and a growing wave of public discontent. According to the Borno South lawmaker, the mass endorsement and public support seen within the APC may offer a false sense of security that could unravel at the polls, just like in Jonathan's case. The senator warned against becoming complacent, especially amid reports that certain APC leaders were advocating automatic tickets for sitting lawmakers. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party chieftain Dili Momodu has stated his soul has left the party. The politician disclosed this today during an interview on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State program. He bemoaned the division within the PDP, which according to him poses a serious challenge to the ruling party. According to him, he said, and I quote, "My soul has left the PDP, it's only my body that remains. If the PDP were united, it could defeat APC in 2027. But too many forces within and outside are fighting against this." His comments come calm amid a deluge of defections from the PDP to the All Progressives Congress. Meanwhile, a former governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, Segun Showunmi, has declared his willingness to work with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Showunmi made this statement on Monday while during an interview on a Monitor television program following a recent meeting with President Bola Tinubu during the Eid celebration. You're currently listening to the World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We took a very short break. When we return, we're heard into a news analysis segment. I currently have Mr. Peter Anosike right here in the studio who will be giving us his insights into some of the questions that we posed at him. To kindly stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Mr. Peter Anosike, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm okay.
All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, let's start off with what is happening in Imo State. I really need you to give me details or an insight into the security situation in Imo State. If we are condemning, let's condemn from all access. It seems like there is a total breakdown of law and order. What is the Chief Security Officer of the state, Hope Uzodinma, doing? He has been gallivanting around advocating for support for the president. But his home state, when it comes to security, is in rubbles. Mr. Peter Anosike, young boys, young women, young ladies have left Imo State seeking for greener pastures in other areas, in other urban cities, because there is no security in the state. There is also no economic development in the state. The recent VAT that was released recently in terms of in terms of the states that contributed to the FAC allocation, Imo State is the last. It's no longer funny. So what is going on?
Well, saying that the left seeking greener pastures is not true.
Okay.
It is not true. For me, chunks have been burnt down, and the policemen run away. Understand me?
Okay.
Again, this unknown gunmen are even imposing taxes on people.
Okay.
And they are paying taxes on people.
Okay.
And they are paying. On Monday, this sit at home. Even the soldiers and police are now obeying the sit at home. On Mondays, they will voluntarily withdraw. Understand me? Because they cannot confront the firepower that's of the unknown gunmen. So, the crime, what is happening in Imo State is underreported. Even journalists are afraid of reporting what is happening in Imo State.
They're afraid of reporting it. Why?
I'm telling you, they are afraid. Because these guys, they have informants. People who give them information. Understand? So what is happening in Imo State is underreported. Imo State is a lawless state.
Why is it a lawless state? How can you have a governor and the state is lawless? Like you said in Mbano, there is no security outpost. Security outpost burnt down by lawless men, and they're holding sway. Mr. Notsky, I heard they go holding sway. Mr. Notsky, I heard they go to people's homes, possibly because they don't fit into their narrative or whatever agenda they're pursuing.
They will kidnap you, understand me? And the standard is this. When they kidnap you, they will behead the person and put his head that's on
a pike
at the market square for everybody to see. I know of somebody that was that said that he's not interested in this Obiafra thing. They passed judgment on him that they are going to kill him. So when people went there to make case for him, they told him on they gave him three conditions. One, pay 50 million naira. Number one, declare support for Nnamdi Kanu. Understand me? If not, you will be dead. So they go to people's houses, kidnapping them. Understand? They are walking freely in Imo State. So, and this is happening mainly in the Mbano, that's Ehime Mbano axis.
So what is Hope Uzodinma doing? What is Hope Uzodinma's responsibility as a governor of that state? I know he doesn't reside in the state. He cannot reside there. He controls or administers the state from Abuja. So if you have a governor who doesn't reside there, or a deputy governor who is literally maybe not even active, you have constituency members, they have senators, they have House of Rep members, they have the state house there. So if you have that proper constitutionality of persons residing or possibly members of that state, and they're eating from the largest of the FAC allocation, why is there a breakdown of law and order in the state? Remember, they have security votes. So what happened? When did it degenerate to this point?
Well, for me, there's even a military formation in Obinze. Understand? There's an artillery battalion in Obinze.
And so what's the effect of them being there?
So assuming, and also them is a member of the ruling party. So he is, so to speak, that's on Tinubu's good book.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, assuming that he wants to maintain peace and order in Imo State, he can call on the president to give order, so soldiers will be sent to this area.
We hear residents who reside in the southeast complain of the militarization of the routes. Those military men, why can't they be conscripted to the areas in the communities that where there is complete breakdown of law and order? And do we say this situation is a political agenda? What's the political motivation behind this? If these individuals say they are clamoring for something, why kill your people when you're clamoring for something? You're clamoring for the liberation of your people. You're clamoring for self-identity. You're clamoring for equalization in economic development and upliftment. Then at the same time, you reduce your population, you commit internal genocide. So would we say these persons are sponsored by external elements? That's one. Two, what is the modus operandi? And three, what is Hope Uzodinma's agenda, letting his people be gunned down and caught and killed for no reason?
Mind you, this is the strategy that helped Hope Uzodinma to win his second term. This is the strategy that Uzodinma used to win his second term, by putting fear that's in the minds of Imo people.
So why using that whatever if you don't believe in iPower but you don't believe in Biafra? If it is Hope Uzodinma's political agenda, why use that?
They cannot use other names now. You must use a name. Understand me? So this is now an instance. If this thing continues, it will be very easy for Hope Uzodinma to manufacture votes for APC in 2027, because nobody is there, nobody is going to vote. Understand me?
Yes.
So that was the strategy he used in getting his second term.
So he used that to kill his people, to gain political relevance.
So scatter people, put fear in them, let everybody disappear.
Do you know that state economically it has no reverence? It has no hierarchy. Look at the ranking in the FAC allocation in terms of contribution. Imo State's last or second to the last. A state that has the highest huge gas deposits. You have the young persons who are supposed to help in developing the state. If everyone is saying, okay, or some persons are saying, you go to your home, go and develop your state. What home do they go and develop? How can people want to invest in a place where there is breakdown of law and order?
So,
how can the youth in the community decide to go home if there is consistent killings of their family members?
So with regard to insecurity, Imo State is the worst affected as we speak. what is happening in Imo State is not happening in the other states. And this is the chairman of APC Governors Forum. Understand? So, but for me, what is happening there is basically a political strategy. Scatter people. When the election comes, you can get people manufacture votes. Understand me? And give. It is working for him, but not working for the people of Imo State.
Okay.
Understand me? So, and that is too bad. That is too bad in Imo State. And it is it is unfair to the people of Imo State.
It's really unfair. So let's look at Jesu Tega Onokpasa. You remember what happened? Do you know that Jesu Tega Onokpasa recently did an interview? In that interview, we saw him speaking differently. What was said initially is something else he was speaking. In that particular interview, something happened, right? What was the thing that happened? Nigerians noticed that he looked so lean. His neck was longer, the head looked bigger, and at the time he was not happy with the president. And then we heard he had passed on. How do we look at this scenario? For someone who seemed to have politically worked to see the president come into power, is there a way whereby he was ill and none of the supporters, those who galvanized at the time for his people or his person who is in power now, could not help out?
Well, he told you his frustration, that he worked for Tinubu, but Tinubu was recognizing other people who did not work for him, now abandoning them. I know many members of the APC presidential campaign council,
Okay.
who are still struggling to today. Understand? So, but now if you check the other people doing Okupe, others who were even in the opposition, understand that we are being recognized and given appointments or contracts. So he died of frustration because he felt that what I put in for the president, he should be remembered.
Yeah.
But the president did not do it. So now it depends on who you choose as your friend.
Okay.
Maybe he chose a wrong person. Understand me? So it just like when Sonny Okosun,
Yeah.
who chose Obasanjo as his friend. So when Sonny Okosun developed cancer and there's no money for him to be taken to India, he died. So people were saying, assuming that he had chosen Babangida,
Yeah.
that Babangida would have made sure that he did not die, because Babangida will bring out money or call friends that will help to treat him. So he made a wrong choice.
Okay. All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, let's look at what Dele Momodu is saying. He just told us that his soul has left the PDP. It's only his body that remains, that there are too many forces, right, fighting against the PDP's unity. And he says it is deliberate by the ruling party, that he doesn't know why the ruling party wants to ensure that the PDP is fragmented, that if the PDP was united, they had a very strong possibility of unseating or voting out President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But when you have persons like Reno Mokri, who used to be in the PDP, who was obviously against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, now speaking on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You have Daniel Bola, who was a member of the PDP, who lambasted the president at the time, called him all sorts of names when he was the governor, now being the spokesperson of the president. You now have a Shegun Showumi, who the other time, when he heard that Daniel Bola took an appointment with the president, called him a tomcoat, called him all sorts of names. And then here now, as of yesterday, we heard him elucidating, giving praises to the president, saying his mental acuity is good. And he actually expressed that he would want to work with the president if given an appointment. So when you have all of this happening, are we saying that the politicians on ground now are stomach infrastructure politicians, no longer politicians of integrity, foresight, and democratic development?
Well, for me, I don't really know Dende Momodu very well.
Okay.
But I'm sure that he's not a hungry man. I'm sure that he's not a hungry man. If he has any integrity, understand he shouldn't cross over to APC. But I have said on this program that that PDP is a broken down vehicle that will not be repaired until 2027 election is over. Understand me? What APC is doing is simply politics. The objective of any political party is to win an election. And contesting the election is not like contesting for Young Men's Christian Association. Good people don't go into politics because it is not a game that you go holding a Bible on your right hand and a chaplet in your left hand. This is a dirty game. So you must do what it says. So APC is trying to destroy other parties so that they can win.
But for Segun Showunmi, when he went to visit the president, he said it's not the president. He said it's not the president. Like, he doesn't think the president has the time for things like that. But a couple of persons will say they're a loyalist. I actually have a recording which I'll play during the evening rush of a particular APC chieftain telling us that this coalition that is being formed, that there are APC members financing that coalition. They intend to finance it. So do you think this is the reason why Peter Obi finds joining that coalition questionable?
As I said, APC, this is a politics. Politics is a murky water.
Okay.
It's a very dirty water. You cannot swim it without getting stains, understand me, and strains on your body. So, as APC is trying to destroy Labour Party and PDP, PDP should also try to destroy APC.
How will they do that?
It's
when you have a strong person in the party who is serving the president and will do everything at all costs to ensure that the party remains destabilized.
It is not everybody that is in APC that is happy. Understand me? So look for those that are not happy, use them to be causing trouble in APC.
Don't you think those who are not happy are the minority and they're possibly scared? They are getting some benefits in being part of the party, even if they're not happy with the way things are done. So they decide to remain there and be quiet.
Esther, I have many friends who are in the fund APC and PCC, APC Presidential Campaign Council, who has not gotten one kobo from this presidency. So there are people in APC who are not happy. Even if it's 2 or 3, use them to be causing a problem in APC. So that's how it should. Then saying that it is not or the president. I have many people who have become governors. That's governors both in the military and civilian, saying there are things that your position will not allow you to do as a governor.
All right.
So what you have to do is to dedicate other people to be doing those things. And that's what Tinubu is doing. Understand me? So his aim is let them win in 2027. So PDP should also be doing this. I have also said that whoever want to, if Atiku want to contest in PDP, he's wasting his time. If Peter Obi want to contest in Labour Party, he is wasting his time. Understand? Because the crisis in these parties will continue until the election is over.
Until the election is over.
Sure.
So if that's the case, are we seeing this ruling party have a clean coast? Because we're seeing endorsements from all and sundry. I think today I saw a group of persons from the southeast and some Igwes who, while the president's wife was present, said that there is no vacancy in Aso Rock. They are giving all their support for the president.
They are hungry people.
These are top Igwes and
those
top
people.
chiefs.
Those people are hungry people looking for what to eat.
So you're seeing massive support, engagement, rallies from all and sundry, even from neighboring Ghana, calling and saying we want to extend our support to the All Progressives Congress. So, I mean, how do you not see it being a very strong match? We're seeing campaign posters already when it is not even yet time for campaign.
It doesn't make any meaning. Look, turnout doesn't win votes.
Turnout doesn't win votes?
Turnout doesn't win votes.
Explain that, please.
I said that you have 1 million people at your rally. Does not make you a winner of an election. That you have 100 million people endorsing you does not signify that you're going to win an election. Let us see what happened in America just about 6 months ago. The whole Hollywood endorsed Harris.
That's
Understand
true.
me? These people have their followers, their fans. What happened at the end of the day? So this endorsement are just hungry people looking for how to get money from Tinubu and APC.
Okay.
So I'm not moved by any endorsement. I'm from Abia State. Let Anexoti endorse Tinubu or cross over to APC. I'm not perturbed. He is going there on his own.
All right.
I'm not carrying Abia people along. He doesn't have control over my own vote.
Interesting. Mr. Peter Onoski, I want to play this. This man was the one who gave an unreserved observation of what transpired during the Civil War, and he recently passed on. That's Frederick Forsyth. Let's take a very brief listen to Frederick Forsyth here.
In Biafra is genocide and massacre on a very large scale. What evidence do you have for this?
It's mainly threefold. Partly my own eyewitness experiences. I followed the Biafran army very closely on a number of occasions. At one occasion at Onitsha, I came across 300 members of the Apostolic Church of Onitsha slaughtered by the Federal 2nd Division.
Did you actually see these bodies?
Yes, I helped clear them out of the road. The Biafran army was so shocked they wouldn't march past them. It took us 18 hours to clear the bodies out of the way. And they had all had their hands tied behind their backs and been shot at close range. On another occasion...
Did you count these bodies?
Personally, one by one, no. The estimate was 300. I think it was probably a fairly fair estimate. They were piled as high as a man's shoulder, like logs stacked on the roadside. On another occasion, a man whom I know was a photographer working for the Biafrans took a photograph very shortly after a village had been...
All right. So this particular scenario, this is Frederick Forsyth, and he was giving us, I think at the time during an interview with the BBC, giving his own observation because he was with the Biafran army during the Civil War, where he saw the mayhem that was unleashed. Due to time constraints, I can't play all of that, but he recently passed on at the age of 86. And, a couple of emoluments and commendation have been coming for the part or the role he played in giving a particular picture, the real picture of what was going on at the time, especially for those who were not there to physically see what was being done by the Nigerian government. So let's look at the scenario. If the history of the Southeasterners is coming from that, why do we still have such mannerism in that particular region? That's one. Two, there have been blames on General Yakubu Gowon for not doing the needful, whereby, the Igbos can be identified as part of the nation where the hatred and isolation and all whatever that has been going on, they still blame it on Gowon. In a very brief way, how do you respond to this?
Well, Frederick was working with the BBC before the war.
Okay.
And because he was given a kind of objective information, they have to recall him back to England, understand? But he left there and come back on his own. He came back around 1968. So he worked closely with Ojukwu. Understand me? So when you talk about people who witnessed the war, he was sure, understand me? So and he has no reason to fabricate stories. But the issue is this: the story of the Civil War is like the elephant and the 6 blind man. Understand me? So everybody's saying from their own perspective. But the whole thing was that, as I said in the morning, Gowon was just a puppet in office.
So, meaning that he shouldn't be blamed as he's being blamed up till now. Remember, he made a statement yesterday or 3 days ago where he said that we should eschew unity and peace, and that the Civil War was not out of hatred for anything; it was for the unity of Nigeria.
He was forced to go to war. It wasn't his intention. He was forced to go to war. Understand? And even the Aburi Accord, he was forced to not to obey the agreement.
Okay.
But because he is number one, so everybody is seeing him as the enemy.
Okay.
But he's not. Yaradua, Shehu Yaradua, Murtala Muhammad, we are the ones that was controlling him. Understand? But these people's names are not being mentioned because they were not the head of state. Right now, Tinubu is the head of state. So whatever is going wrong is on his head. So, but he doesn't want to look to be seen as a coward.
Interesting.
So that's what is keeping him from telling the whole story. Even when Babangida wrote his own book, that it was Abacha that was people were saying you are the head of state and somebody else was controlling you. That Abacha told you to annul June 12 elections. So he doesn't want to be seen that way.
Interesting. Mr. Peter Anosike, I would say thank you very much for taking your time to give us your perspective. I would have loved this conversation to have continued because it's actually quite engaging with your wealth of knowledge and research on, our historical background. At some point, we'll have to take us back in time. We'll be trying to look into that during the evening rush today, democratic dispensation, what Nigeria used to be during the military regime and what it is now and what the way forward is. Mr. Peter Anosike, do you have something to say?
I want to say, during the military regime, we used that to call it the dark days of Nigerian history.
Yeah.
But during the democracy, we now have darker days.
That's an irony that is unfortunate.
We now have darker days. Because the people that are dying now, 1/4 of it did not die under the army. This insecurity that we have now, we're not having it under the army. Okay.
Or police brutality.
The insecurity, I mean, the hunger that is in the land now wasn't happening under the army.
But at the time, they complained, though, during the army period, that there was hunger. Nigerians were complaining. I mean, we have old tapes and old videos of Nigerians at the time clamoring and complaining about the military administration then.
It had never been this bad in this country since independence.
All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, thank you so much. I sincerely do appreciate your input.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, and just before we go, in stories outside the shores of Nigeria, several students and at least one adult were killed today in a shooting inside a high school in Graz in southeastern Austria. The actual casualty toll is unclear as Graz Mayor El Kikar told local media that 10 people were dead, while the Interior Ministry said 9 people had been killed in the attack, which took place at about 10 a.m. local time. Well, one report put the number of children killed at 7. The city's police confirmed the shooting suspect was also dead, probably by his own hand, and that a number of people had been seriously injured. However, they said there was no further danger to the public and the site has since been secure. To wrap up the world news at 6, here again are the top stories. You heard that unknown gunmen killed 2 truck drivers, set vehicles ablaze in Imo State. Residents of flood-prone areas resist evacuation, seek help. Army Major dies in Kogi kidnappers' den. APC chieftain Jesu Tega Onopasa is dead. Wiki renames International Conference Center after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And APC threatens to sanction Ali Ndume. That's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is